Seton poll question for hour one is going to be, what are you going to go with?
Man, where do we start? So much happened this weekend. Well, we might as well start on a negative. Who had the worst weekend?
We have to take Ohio State out of that, don't we?
I don't know. Do we?
Did anybody have a worse weekend than Ohio State?
Well, Matt Eberflus had a bad weekend.
Yeah, but that was, we knew that was going to be inevitable.
But even for a guy who we knew was going to get fired, the way he chose to have his final act of getting fired was particularly terrible. That was like, I don't know why we would hire you again to do this. Anybody.
Well, I wouldn't hire him to do anything that had to do with math, anything to do with clock management there. It's weird. I thought the Bears organization was more embarrassing than Matt Eberflus. Matt Eberflus didn't understand clock management. You need to call a timeout. You had a timeout. You have a rookie quarterback in that situation. Let's regroup. Regroup here. Let's just go over the basics here. You got two plays if you want to call a different play. Okay, we're all on the same page here. Don't let the clock wind down. But then to let him go out and have his press conference, knowing you're going to fire him, he's talking about next week. He's talking about how they're preparing. I think they play the Niners. What are you doing? That to me was more egregious than, he hasn't been a good coach. I wouldn't have brought him back this year. He proved that. I think they have talent. I think Caleb has played pretty well. But you can't send him out there and go, hey, am I holding my press conference? Yeah, go get him. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, 2 hours later, you fire him. So the Bears front office, to me, was more embarrassed, or should be more embarrassed, than Matt Eberflus. All right, see.
Is that the same Bears front office that hired Matt Eberflus in the first place?
And kept him.
Yeah. That's really the thing, because now every time I watch the Chargers do well, I think, see, there's your guy, Jim Harbaugh. He was right up the road. He was right up the road, and you could have brought him in.
The fact that they didn't even call him in for an interview.
My stomach.
Former Bear quarterback, you got him there.
You definitely don't want Caleb Williams studying under somebody like Jim Harbaugh, who could maybe help ease him into the league.
No, you don't want that.
He's got some experience doing that.
Don't want that. All right, so Ohio State, Matt Eberflus / Bears organization?
Yeah, I'd say Ryan Day specifically, but okay, yeah. I could throw Kirk Cousins on that list.
Well, if you throw him in there, he's going to be intercepted.
Yeah, somebody else is catching it.
Okay. No. I love Kirk Cousins. I'm sorry. He was terrible yesterday.
Yeah, he was terrible.
He does. Yes, he knows that. That was bad. And I wonder how much longer until we see Michael Penix Jr. the third here. They're too good to be this bad. Wait. That was weird.
Too good
to be this bad.
Country song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was too good to be this bad. What else do you have, Seton?
How about Justin Tucker?
Oh. Wow.
Speaking of people we like, that I don't want to see him do poorly, but he's having a horrible year.
Yeah, I got to put him on the poll question. Got to. That was tough to watch. You see somebody who's so good, and then all of a sudden you're like, what happened?
Yes.
And then just how powerful the mind is with these things. Because these athletes, they all have great talent. And then what separates you, I think, is your mental approach to things. And for a kicker, you're always in your head. But when you're that great, and sometimes it's automatic, then you can see him actually thinking. He's thinking. And that's the worst thing you can do sometimes. Athletes react. They've thought before they get into the situation, and then they just react. And you see him just going, please make it, please make it, please make it. And then all of a sudden, he's human. Now, I wonder, can you do to your kicker what we've seen organizations do to their quarterbacks? Anthony Richardson, sit down for a couple of weeks. Bryce Young, sit down for a couple of weeks. And now you're seeing those two quarterbacks be able to play well. Anthony Richardson is a more athletic Jameis Winston. Like, I don't know what's happening, but damn, he's fun to watch. And Bryce Young, I'm happy for him. You go toe-to-toe with the Chiefs, you go toe-to-toe with Tampa, and you lost both of those games, but those aren't on you. Can you do that to somebody who is 35 years of age as opposed to somebody who's 21, 22? Could you sit him down for a month? I know that seems like, wow, that'd be a drastic move, but can you do that to him just to say, get away here, get away from here a little bit, kind of figure out what's going on? Just do something. But it feels like, and look, he's a stand-up guy. He stood in there and he was answering the questions yesterday. In fact, do we have, well, here's John Harbaugh talking about Justin Tucker.
We've been working through it. I mean, you work through it with every single player. Every single thing you fight to try to help guys to be successful, so we'll do that. I mean, if you're asking me if we're going to move on from Justin Tucker, I'm not really planning on doing that right now. I don't think that'd be wise. But, he'll tell you, he'll be the first to tell you he needs to make many kicks as he can. And I just think if you look at Justin Tucker's history, you'd have to say he's capable of doing that. That's something that he's going to want to do, and I know we're all going to want him to do it.
And I don't know if this is the yips that you see in golf or guys get in their head and they get to the free throw line. I don't know. But, somebody who is going to the Hall of Fame who all of a sudden forgot how to kick and missing an extra point. And we've gotten to the point now where a 50-yarder is not a big deal. 55 yards is not a big deal. We almost expect you to make those. But Justin Tucker is now a liability for this Ravens team. Who else are you going to put on the list there, Seton?
Let's see. Well, I think we keep it at those four. They've had particularly terrible weekends.
Okay.
Matt Eberflus, Ryan Day, Kirk Cousins, Justin Tucker.
Okay.
Those are pretty bad weekends.
Yeah.
We have a bunch of other options for poll questions here. Most impactful game of the weekend.
Okay. Let me save those until the second segment there. Okay. When you talk about can you bench a Hall of Famer? Well, Russell Wilson got benched. So, he got kicked to the curb. They paid him $90 million to go away in Denver. And he had a great day yesterday. Great day. You go toe-to-toe with Joe Burrow. By the way, Joe Burrow is going to have maybe one of the more incredible seasons playing for a losing team. I don't know how, they would rank those, but he's not going to make the playoffs, and he's been great this year. That defense has been horrible. And when these two teams to get together, it's always like when the Ravens and the Steelers get together. Like their crooked scores, it's like, 22-18. Now you're putting up crazy amounts of points there. 82 points combined. That's the most of any of their 102 games that they played between these two.
Woo! Ow! Stat of the day! Stat of the day! Stat of the day! Stat of the day! This is the stat of the day!
Stat of the day brought to you by Panini America, the official trading cards of the program. Yes, Paulie?
Going back to Ryan Day and Matt Eberflus, it feels like a guy like Matt Eberflus will probably get a defensive coordinator position somewhere on a below-average team. Ryan Day hasn't beaten Michigan since 2019. That's a long time. Do you think his job is in jeopardy, or is that media and fan talk?
The importance of that game, the game,
yeah,
and you've lost 4 in a row?
He does have the playoffs to clean up his mess.
Well, yeah, if this was a 14 playoff,
yes,
then he would probably – I can't say probably be. I think that this would be far more serious right now. You're a 23.5-point favorite. You're at home. This is Michigan. Their quarterback is a walk-on, cancer survivor. They don't really have weapons. You know what they did? They played defense and ran the football. That's the ingredient. And it has been the tried and true ingredient of this rivalry ever since I can remember. Can you run the football, and can you play defense? And that's exactly what they did. And they were the better team. You bring in Chip Kelly, he's your offensive coordinator. You spend $20 million on your roster, and that's what you have to show for it. 10 points. He does have the playoffs to clean up the mess, though. But it might be. I can't think of a coach who needs to win the championship more than Ryan Day. You know, Kalen DeBoer just got there at Alabama. Kirby Smart, he's secure there. You can go down the list here. Dabo Swinney, still going to be back at Clemson. I mean, there's no pressure there on him. Like James Franklin at Penn State, there's no pressure on him. But Ryan Day, there's a whole lot of pressure on him. We'll talk to Paul Feinbaum a little bit later on. We'll ask him, is it national title or bust for Ryan Day? Which is crazy to say with their dominance in the Big Ten, aside from Michigan, their dominance. But, you know, beating really good teams, you know, now you're going to put that to the test. Could they be on the road? Opening weekend of the playoffs. Yes, Todd.
But that rivalry is so big, and he's been so bad these last few years. Is it even enough to win the national title game to some crazy Buckeyes fans? Like, we won the national title, but we lost to Michigan.
No. That fixes everything.
Does.
Yes. It hurts when you lose to Michigan, because it used to be if you lost to Michigan, you know, that team was moving on, you weren't. Now all of a sudden, here you go. You got wounded, you got embarrassed, you got humbled, and now it's a question of regrouping, going into the playoffs, and not getting left behind. But if you win a national title, yes, that will clean up what happened over the weekend in Columbus.